So here I am in San Francisco Bay Area. I've been here for about a year and a half, more or less, peppered in with a lot of travel. But, this is where I'm from, the Bay Area. And so I feel it's always been close to my heart. Tech has always been close to my heart. My dad was an engineer. And, and a lot of my family were engineers. And so it's been fascinating to watch it transform, especially in the last few years. But, coming from LA, I was in LA for about 6 years. And watching LA itself go through some really intense changes, right? 2019, you had the ending of the streaming wars as the golden age of television and investment went down, and then you saw kind of a rise in investment into TV and film, etc., and then a drop, right, as the pandemic hit, and you saw a huge drop in theater box office, getting cut in half or even down to quartered. Then you saw the strikes, which a lot of people thought would lead to a pickup in investment after, didn't really. And then you had the fires, and then now you have AI. And so it's ominous in LA in some ways, depressing. And the mood, I think, is shifting, but it's unclear, how Hollywood is going to land on AI and the arts, and how the creator economy is going to embrace it, and how are the main economies in LA going to respond. Meanwhile, SF has gone through this transformation since ChatGPT, right? Since ChatGPT arrived 3 years ago, we have seen an exponential increase in the amount of startups that are started here, in the amount of investment, and the amount of enthusiasm. People that I know personally are coming up to SF from LA or from New York, and they're imbibing the psychedelic religiosity of the city that somehow has never felt this enthusiastic before. And SF though has this very long legacy, right, of hippies and arts and creativity and kind of weirdness and it's transformed, right? In the last 20 years, it's shifted, especially the last 15 years, I would say, since 2015, and since the iPhone, you kind of saw the ubiquity of the idea of startup, this migration of tech people into the city until it became kind of a monolith, right? And then you saw kind of this shift because Silicon Valley used to be really like San Jose, right? That's the original, or down in the South Bay, and it's slowly kind of migrated up the peninsula to San Francisco, where all the amenities and culture and all that are. And now we are in this era where tech has been pushed out, or has pushed out the kind of original culture in a certain way. There's pockets, but it's transformed so much that it's unrecognizable to somebody who, grew up here in, 30, 40 years ago, right? And so that's fascinating, right? But you have this legacy in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, of, people like Ursula K. Le Guin, Andy Weir, The Martian is from here. You have Lucasfilm, you have Pixar, you have YouTube even, you could count in there. And so you have this legacy of tech meets storytelling, and then if you go even farther back, you get the beatniks, right? This was the home of a lot of music and poetry and culture. And tech has now kind of consumed all of that. And so I guess the question for me is, amidst this kind of backdrop, amidst this tapestry, is San Francisco capable of becoming a creative bastion once again? Now, because what we have now is billions of dollars and billions of dollars going into tokens specifically to train image and video models in San Francisco, right? Descartes, you've got, there's Higgs fields over here. There's a long list, OpenAI, Google, etc. Long list of AI companies right now who are intent on creating creative tools for people around the world. Millions of people using them. And at the same time, we have this displacement of the creative culture, which is here and there. There's the psychedelic, there's the rave, the music, there's still pockets of, creativity here and there, but it's not like what it used to be, we have to all admit. But can this city, or can this area, generate a new genre or a new fiction, a new science fiction for this new age that it is a party to creating? Or is that up to the rest of the world? Is that up to, China to Korea in particular, Japan in particular, anime, right? Korean drama, TV, film, Bollywood, Los Angeles, of course. Is it up to these epicenters of storytelling to create the new genres of the future? Because this seems to me such a transformative moment that a new genre of fiction and storytelling has to answer it. We are in an era in which the changes are so fast that we get whiplash. The changes are so fast that we can't even cognize, we can't even digest how something might change our world before the next thing feels even more game-changing. Like, I've barely been able to digest that AI video is photoreal before I have to grapple with the fact that there's a world model that can generate an entire world that I could, holodeck into, right? Before I can even cognize the idea that there is this open claw that can run my entire life. Like, there are, rather than this isolated moment where there's her Scarlett Johansson type technology that influences one person or many people in a particular way, there's 1,000 technologies that are going to arrive all at once, en masse, in rapid succession, right? We can barely cognize how ChatGPT is influencing us before we are subsequently bombarded with the idea that there are going to be humanoid robots everywhere. It's mind-boggling. And I think that means that there is an opportunity to create a new way to view the world within and in response to that, not in the what I think is banal and boring response from some science fiction writers like Ted Chiang or others, whose response is mainly to resist and criticize and almost complain and deride or spread fear about what's coming, which I think is valid and maybe is needed. I think there is an opportunity for these fictional writers to embrace kind of a positive or neutral or broader sense of what's happening, right? Rather than just pushing it away, embracing what it could mean if it all did arrive and what are the implications of that. So or maybe there's something else. Maybe there's something beyond that even. So this is my encouragement / questioning of, is a sci-fi native to San Francisco possible? If it's not, maybe it's coming from somewhere else, but there has to be one that's coming. So that's it. Curious what your thoughts are. Let me know.